Battle Through the Heavens Season 5 Episode 151. Unexpectedly, when Xun'er awakened her level 10 Divine Duty bloodline, the Gu clan members present all knelt down in unison. However, even though the Gu clan had someone who in the future could potentially become a terrifying existence at the peak Do Sheng level, in Elder Tong Xian's eyes, it was still less impressive than an undeserving Xiao, because he did absolutely nothing and still got a wife with a Divine Duty bloodline. Continuing from last time, after the battle between Xiao and Gu Yao concluded with our lucky guy's victory, Elder Tong Xian of the Gu clan continued to preside over the coming-of-age ceremony. Xun'er, it's your turn. Upon hearing this, everyone's gaze instantly focused on this young lady, the pride of the Gu clan. However, regarding Elder Tong Xian's words, Xun'er paid no heed. She quickly came to Xiao Yan's side and worriedly asked about his injuries. Brother Xiao Yan, are you all right? I'm fine. Just exhausted a lot of energy. I'll be fine after some rest. Hearing this, Xun'er didn't speak but gently wiped away a trace of blood from Xiao Yan's lips. But in her beautiful eyes, a hint of anger flickered. After all, although Xiao Yan won this time, it was a narrow victory. If Xiao Yan hadn't, at the last moment, condensed the four-colored fire lotus, I'm afraid her brother Xiao Yan would have been at least crippled for life by Gu Yao's great annihilation finger. Gu Yao, today's matter isn't over.
You'd better not fall into my next time.
Otherwise, I'll make sure you experience this feeling too. With that, her figure moved and she gently landed in the arena. In response, Gu Yao was so scared he didn't dare to utter a sound. Looking at Xun'er's slightly cold face, Elder Tong Xian also gave a bitter smile. He said, given Xun'er's excellence and status in the Gu clan, it's not surprising something like this happened. Besides, Xiao Yan also needs this kind of challenge. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to be truly recognized by those clan members.
This is the last time.
Rest assured, he has proven himself with his strength. In the future, there shouldn't be any more foolish people who go and provoke him. With that, he waved his hand, and a star plate, about 10 feet in size, appeared before him.
Xun'er, you may begin.
As Xun'er's palm slowly touched the star plate, under the illumination of a bright light, 8 stars instantly emerged. But before the surrounding crowd could react, another star appeared. Amid gasps of astonishment, it slowly solidified into 9 stars. 9th grade bloodline. Seeing this scene, the Gu clan members present, including some elders, became somewhat excited. You must know, a 9th grade bloodline meant that their Gu clan would have a clan member with the potential to reach the Do Sheng realm. Although this was still just potential, as long as they had enough time, they believed this potential would truly forge a true Do Sheng. The 3 commanders of the Black Elite Army not far away also looked on with amazement and envy. It really is a 9th grade bloodline. Xun'er's bloodline power is truly unparalleled. But it's not over yet. If it were merely 9th grade, those old geezers wouldn't all have gathered here. Hearing this, the silver-robed man suddenly realized that at the edge of the square, faintly, waves of hidden yet powerful auras were emanating. Evidently, Xun'er's appearance had also made some of the old figures within the Gu clan unable to sit still. At the same time in the square, the light of the 9th star on the star plate, under Elder Tong Xian's ecstatic gaze, surged all the way to the peak of the 9th grade. However, just as the brightness of this light reached its peak, on the star plate, a small crack suddenly appeared. Seeing this, not only did the ordinary Gu clan members show looks of horror, even those elders were utterly shocked. Because merely relying on bloodline power to shatter the star plate, such a thing was unheard of. Just as everyone found this incredible, where the crack was spreading, a speck of golden light quietly emerged and began to rapidly condense and grow. The moment that 10th golden star appeared, the star plate directly exploded with a bang. Immediately, a golden pillar of light shot up into the sky from Xun'er's jade-like hand. Under this terrifying pressure, all the Gu clan members present were dumbfounded. Divine grade bloodline. They shared the same bloodline as Xun'er, so that pressure felt even stronger to them. Thus, many Gu clan members, unable to withstand such intense pressure, knelt down with a thud. But on their faces, there was a mixture of excitement and fervor. Some Gu clan elders, though not kneeling, also bowed slightly. This scene also made Mang Tianqi, who was not far away, look on with envy. As a member of the Lei clan, he naturally understood very well how important this so-called divine grade bloodline was to an ancient clan. You know, This meant the potential to reach the peak of Do Sheng.
Ah, what an incredible young lady.
The Gu clan is truly blessed. The three commanders of the Black Smoke Army not far away, after exchanging glances, all had bitter tastes in their mouths. Although they had some suspicions before, when this suspicion became reality, even they still found it hard to believe. After all, a divine-grade bloodline, within the Gu clan's 1,000-year history, had never appeared again. At the same time, as the golden pillar of light turned into a wisp of golden light and re-entered Xun'er's body, Elder Tong Xian, with a solemn expression, took out a dragon brush that shimmered with 7-colored light. Once this item appeared, the faces of all the Gu clan members showed a look of reverence. Because this 7-colored heaven and earth brush, unused by the Gu clan for 1,000 years, was finally going to be unsealed. And as Elder Tong Xian gestured, the 7-colored heaven and earth brush danced, and 7-colored runes, stroke by stroke, appeared on Xun'er's forehead. However, feeling the rapid loss of Do Qi in his body, Elder Tong Xian's face grew increasingly solemn. Only now did he understand why, for thousands of years, this 7-colored heaven and earth brush had found no one qualified to use it. Just the rate at which it devoured Do Qi, if one didn't have Do Sheng strength, they would probably be sucked dry in an instant. And this work of drawing the clan mark lasted for nearly 2.5 minutes before it ended. With the fall of the final stroke, Xun'er's tightly closed eyes slowly opened. However, the 7-colored clan mark on her forehead suddenly erupted with light, causing quite a few powerful Gu clan members to kneel. But it only lasted for a moment before it was quietly retracted into Xun'er's 7-colored rune. As the 7-colored light dissipated, from the distant sky, an old laugh could be faintly heard. Ah! The 7-colored rune. My Gu clan, after 1,000 years, it has finally reappeared. This voice was extremely soft, so faint that only those with exceptional hearing could detect it. But when this old voice sounded, Elder Tong Xian, a Do Sheng expert, was slightly startled. To think even this person was alarmed. With that, he slightly bowed towards a certain direction in the sky. Meanwhile, seeing that Xun'er had completed her test, the three commanders of the Black Smoke Army didn't plan to stay here any longer. From what they saw today, they believed Xun'er's future achievements would surely surpass anyone in the clan. However, the man in green among them was just about to turn when he suddenly noticed Xiao Yan on the seat had detected their location. Seeing Xiao Yan's gaze, the man in green smiled faintly. Haha, you found us, huh? Such keen perception. With that, his figure moved and instantly disappeared. The silver-robed man and the burly man behind him quickly followed. Watching the mysterious man in green depart, Xiao Yan's brow furrowed slightly. Because the sense of pressure this person gave him was far stronger than Gu Yao's. It seems this Gu clan is indeed full of experts. And since his girl had completed her test, as for the rest of the ceremony, Xiao Yan had lost interest. So, after bidding farewell to Mang Tianqi with a cupped fist, he turned and left with little fairy doctor and the others. Seeing Xiao Yan and his group leave, Xun'er, worried about his injuries, didn't want to stay any longer either. So after saying a word to Elder Tong Xian, under the gaze of many, she chased after Xiao Yan and the others. Seeing Xun'er leave just like that, Elder Tong Xian helplessly shook his head. It seems even a divine-grade bloodline isn't enough. Xiao Yan is still the stronger one. Does nothing, and yet he still gets a wife with a divine-grade bloodline. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yan faced all sorts of obstructions from the Gu clan elders when he wanted to enter his ancestor Xiao Xian's tomb realm. An infuriated Xun'er actually kicked the door of the elder council room to smithereens. And as Xiao Yan's father-in-law, the man entrusted by Xiao Xian to look after the Xiao clan leader and raise him to a Do Shi, also finally made his first appearance. Continuing from last time, Xun'er, at the coming-of-age ceremony, actually awakened the divine-grade duty bloodline, which had been unseen in the Gu clan for 1,000 years. After this, Xun'er left with Xiao Yan and the others. As for Elder Tong Xian, who presided over the ceremony, he also lost interest in the subsequent tests because of Xun'er's heaven-defying bloodline. Therefore, after handing over the responsibility to other elders, he left early. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan had returned to his room. With Xun'er's help, the annihilation chi previously forced into his body by Gu Yao was also completely expelled. Regarding this, Xiao Yan sighed helplessly. It shouldn't have been this miserable. But the gap between levels is now increasingly difficult to overcome. After all, as his strength increases, the extent to which he can fight those above his level is also becoming more and more limited. And after the 5-star Do Xun, there is a considerable gap between each star. An ordinary Do Xun simply cannot defeat an opponent one level higher. Moreover, the opponent Xiao Yan faced this time was a talented young genius of the Gu clan who possessed a heaven-rank cultivation technique. But Xiao Yan believed that if he were at the same level as Gu Yao, the opponent would have no power to fight back at all. But after waking up, Xiao Yan did not see Xun'er. She had gone to the Gu clan elders. He heard her say that the heavenly tomb would open in 2 days. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's heart couldn't help but skip a beat because his ancestor Xiao Xian's tomb is in this so-called heavenly tomb. And since Xiao Yan's purpose in coming to the Gu realm this time was related to this, he naturally had to go and pay his respects. Besides, he had also heard that the cultivation speed in this heavenly tomb was much faster than in the outside world. But what gave Xiao Yan a bit of a headache was that his relationship with the Gu clan wasn't very good. And because of Xun'er, he had also been deliberately targeted by some Gu clan elders. He just didn't know if, when the time came, someone would obstruct him from entering. At the same time, in a meeting hall of the Gu clan, Elder Tong Xian and some other Gu clan elders were discussing with solemn expressions the specific matters concerning the opening of the heavenly tomb in 2 days. It turned out that there were a total of 16 spots to enter the heavenly tomb this time, meaning each of the 8 ancient clans had 2 spots. According to Elder Tong Xian, the Ling clan did not send anyone this time. So according to the rules, his Gu clan could use these 2 spots. But this time, the Gu clan had arranged for 6 people to enter the heavenly tomb. Therefore Gu Shan and Gu Qian, who opposed Xun'er and Xiao Yan being together, then proposed, "Haven't the Xiao clan spots always been used by our Gu clan? Adding them would be just right. But this time, a Xiao Yan from the Xiao clan has come. If it's still like this, the Xiao clan has declined. In fact, they are no longer among the ancient clans. Excluding them would be understandable. I think Xiao Yan should be able to understand." Hearing his words, some elders couldn't help but nod slightly, but Elder Tong Xian's brow furrowed slightly. Evidently, he found their proposal very inappropriate. However, just as Elder Tong Xian was frowning about this, the tightly closed meeting hall door was violently forced open with a bang. The guards at the door were just about to shout angrily when, under the illumination of a 7-colored light, they suddenly knelt on the ground. Immediately, a cold stern shout resounded throughout the entire hall. "Elder Gu Shan, since the Xiao clan left the Central Plains, the Gu clan has been occupying their spots until now. Now that someone from the Xiao clan has finally come here, yet you refuse to return even this one spot. Aren't you going a bit too far?" Under the gaze of many, Xun'er's charming figure slowly walked into the main hall. The 7-colored light emanating from between her brows caused the complexions of many elders to change slightly. If not for their formidable strength, they would probably have knelt directly on the ground like those guards due to this bloodline pressure. Elder Tong Xian, after glancing at Gu Shan and the others whose faces didn't look too good, sighed, "Ai Xun'er, retract your clan mark first." Hearing this, although Xun'er slowly retracted the 7-colored light into the space between her brows, the anger in her heart did not diminish. Because even though Xiao Yan had already demonstrated extraordinary strength and talent, these old diehards still unexpectedly didn't approve. And Elder Gu Shan, with a gloomy face, told Xun'er not to side with an outsider and that she should always think more for the Gu clan. But in Xun'er's view, even as a member of the Gu clan, she felt this Gu Shan was going too far. You know, the Gu clan these years has always been hogging the Xiao clan spots, taking full advantage. These spots were originally given to the Gu clan when the Xiao clan left the Central Plains. Let's not even mention that the Gu clan already owed the Xiao clan a great debt of gratitude. Just considering that Xiao Yan represented the Xiao clan here this time, these old scoundrels not only refused to return their spots but even tried to completely exclude them at every turn. Probably anyone with a shred of conscience wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Xun'er's sharp words made Gu Shan and the others frown slightly. "Xun'er, this is where the elders discuss matters.
You barging in like this is breaking the rule."
"Elder Gu Qian, have you perhaps forgotten the rights of the 7-colored clan mark?" Hearing this, only then did Gu Qian and the others react. Because according to the rules, any clan member possessing the 7-colored clan mark had a status far higher than most elders by a degree. So Xun'er entering this meeting room this time was not really a violation of any rules. Seeing both sides arguing heatedly over this matter, Elder Tong Xian, who was sitting aside, finally acted as a peacemaker. He said that excluding Xiao Yan was indeed going a bit too far, so Xiao Yan should be included in the spots for the heavenly tomb this time. Besides, this time, the Xiao clan only has Xiao Yan. Even if he enters the heavenly tomb, the Gu clan will still have 5 spots. Hearing Elder Tong Xian's words, Gu Shan and the others, although dissatisfied in their hearts, could only nod helplessly. After all, now that Xun'er had awakened the divine grade bloodline, her influence within the clan had also increased. The current Xun'er was not someone they could afford to offend or contradict. Since there are no objections, then let it be decided this way. In 2 days, the heavenly tomb will open. Xun'er, you should also let Xiao Yan prepare. Yes.
Apologie for disturbing you, elders.
Watching Xun'er's departing figure, many elders in the main hall looked at each other in consternation. They hadn't expected this Xun'er, who usually didn't involve herself in clan affairs, to become so assertive today regarding Xiao Yan's matters. At the same time elsewhere, Xiao Yan, who had recovered from his injuries, was slowly walking through the mountain forest, letting Fenju circulate automatically, absorbing the pure energy between heaven and earth to replenish the dou qi depleted from the previous battle with Gu Yao. However, just as Xiao Yan was immersed in this state, he found a figure standing at the end of the mountain path with hands clasped behind his back. Seeing this, a look of astonishment suddenly appeared in Xiao Yan's eyes, because in his perception, he hadn't detected the slightest trace of their presence. It was as if the space this person occupied didn't exist at all. Therefore, Xiao Yan immediately cupped his fists towards that figure and said respectfully, "Junior Xiao Yan, I've unintentionally come here while walking. If I have disturbed you in any way, I hope Senior will forgive me." "No need. I was waiting here for you." Hearing this, Xiao Yan, slightly on guard, took 2 steps back, but his vision blurred for a moment. When he came to his senses, he found himself already on the mountaintop. Such a method instantly sent a chill through Xiao Yan's heart. Because in all his years, this was the first time he had encountered someone who could move his physical body away without him feeling anything. He was certain that this person was definitely the most terrifyingly powerful individual he had ever met in his life. Just as Xiao Yan's heart was filled with astonishment, the mysterious person slowly spoke. "I never expected that after the duty bloodline of the past was exhausted, the Xiao clan could still produce such an outstanding young man. This makes me have to believe that Xiao Xian's actions back then seemed to have some justification." Hearing this, Xiao Yan then understood that this person actually had some connection with his ancestor. This meant the other party was also an old monster who had lived for an unknown number of years. "May I know Senior's esteemed name?" Hearing this, the mysterious person slowly turned around and smiled faintly. But when Xiao Yan saw this person's face clearly, it was somewhat different from what he had imagined. Because this person looked like a middle-aged man around 40 years old, and not some shabby old man. Dressed in simple hemp clothes, coupled with a gentle smile on his face, it made Xiao Yan feel slightly at ease. However, the middle-aged man's next sentence made Xiao Yan completely dumbfounded. "I am Xun'er's father." Unexpectedly, Gu Yuan, the supreme figure on the Douqi continent, upon first meeting Xiao Yan, actually instructed this prospective future son-in-law to absolutely refrain from any improper acts with Xun'er. Such cunning behavior made our lucky guy so embarrassed he wished the earth would swallow him whole. Continuing from last time, while Xun'er went to the Gu clan elder council meeting hall, Xiao Yan was on a mountain peak, recovering the Douqi depleted from his previous battle with Gu Yao. Unexpectedly, he encountered a middle-aged man of extremely terrifying strength. When Xiao Yan learned that this person was Xun'er's father, he was instantly stunned. He had once heard Xun'er mention that her father was not only the patriarch of the Gu clan, but also one of the figures standing at the pinnacle of this Douqi continent. Xiao Yan never imagined that this person would now appear before him in such an ordinary guise. Looking at Xiao Yan's dumbfounded expression, the middle-aged man smiled. Very surprised?
My name is Gu Yuan.
Speaking of which, when you were born, we had met. It's just that no one knew my identity back then." Hearing this, Xiao Yan looked astonished. Evidently, he hadn't expected that when he first came into this world, he had already met this Gu clan patriarch of immense power. When Xiao Yan learned that Gu Yuan had come this time because of him and Xun'er, his heart suddenly sank. Could it be that this man, like the other elders, disagreed with him and Xun'er being together? However, fortunately, Xiao Yan's future father-in-law was still quite reasonable. Gu Yuan stated that as long as Xun'er liked him, he, as her father, would naturally like him too. As for Xiao Yan, although his strength still lagged somewhat behind the strongest of the Gu clan's younger generation, in Gu Yuan's eyes, to be able to achieve his current accomplishments with an exhausted duty bloodline was already quite impressive. Evidently, this future father-in-law was quite satisfied with our lucky guy. That being said, Gu Yuan still remarked that if he had known the outcome would be like this, he wouldn't have sent Xun'er to the Xiao family back then. Because in the end, not only did he fail to obtain the 2Shi ancient god jade, but he also lost a daughter with a divine grade bloodline. This deal was truly a huge loss. Regarding such words, Xiao Yan could only chuckle secretly, not daring to say anything in response. Although Gu Yuan wouldn't interfere in their affairs, he wanted Xiao Yan to promise him one thing.
You wonder what it is?
Xiao Yan asked. Rest assured, it's not something too difficult, Gu Yuan replied. I only hope that when you are with Xun'er in the future, before she reaches the Dosheng realm, you will let her maintain her purity. Hearing Gu Yuan's startling words, Xiao Yan's face instantly became extremely awkward. He never expected the other party would make such a bizarre request. Did he look like that kind of impatient person? Hey young people, Gu Yuan continued, it's inevitable to be impulsive at times. You two aren't always together. It turned out, Gu Yuan was afraid that these two, due to their long-distance relationship, might one day let things get out of hand, which would throw the entire Gu clan into turmoil. Moreover, because Xun'er possessed the divine grade bloodline, which had only appeared in the Gu clan after 1,000 years, if Xiao Yan, an outsider, were to become intimate with her before she reached Dosheng, it would inevitably damage Xun'er's bloodline. If this matter were known by some elders of the Gu clan, they would definitely not let Xiao Yan off lightly. Although Gu Yuan was the patriarch of the clan, he was powerless in the face of such a major issue. Hearing this, Xiao Yan could only smile bitterly and nod. But did this important figure appear before him just to explain such an unusual matter? And this is just a reminder, by the way, Gu Yuan said. My appearance this time, the biggest issue is still the 2Shi ancient god jade on you. Hearing the words 2Shi ancient god jade, Xiao Yan's expression couldn't help but change slightly. Because back then, the reason the Soul Hall captured his father was supposedly for this mysterious jade. But what secrets it held, he did not know. According to Gu Yuan, this ancient jade was left behind by the last 2Shi ancient god of the Dochi continent. He also left behind a duty ruin that held the secret to breaking through to Dosheng. As for its exact location, they didn't know. They only knew that gathering these 8 ancient jades was the key to opening that duty ruin. As for what the Han clan was after, it should be the Xiao clan's 2Shi ancient god jade. Upon mentioning this strange and unpredictable clan, Gu Yuan's brow furrowed slightly. Because back then, the Gu clan and the Xiao clan had once joined forces and fought a great battle with them. Although both sides suffered losses, it did not cause too much damage to the Han clan. Later, Xiao Xian became the patriarch of the Xiao clan and originally had a chance to severely injure the Han clan. But in the end, the latter preemptively gathered many experts and besieged him, causing Xiao Xian to fall. Having lost the support of the Xiao clan, the Gu clan was also unable to declare war on the Han clan alone. Because everyone knew that if they fought like this, both clans would suffer greatly. Therefore, the two sides have maintained this stalemate until now. However, from the Han clan's actions regarding the 2Shi ancient god jade in recent years, it seems they are stirring up trouble again. If they were to obtain all of them, their strength would inevitably surge, thus breaking this balance. Hearing Gu Yuan's words, Xiao Yan nodded slightly. But in his mind, he suddenly thought of the underground magma at Jianan Academy. Because back then, the 2Shi ancient god jade in his hand had reacted there. Could it be that the end of that magma world was the hidden location of that duty ruin? And Gu Yuan, the reason he spoke at such length was that his true purpose, at the behest of the clan elders, was to come and ask for the ancient jade in Xiao Yan's possession. After all, in the eyes of those stubborn elders, compared to leaving this item in the hands of Xiao Yan, who was a constant target of the Han clan, it was more appropriate to entrust it to the Gu clan for safekeeping. But on this ancient jade, there was still a trace of Xiao Zhan's soul imprint. Xiao Yan needed to rely on this to determine if his father was alive or dead. And if it really came to the worst, if the Soul Hall wanted to kill his father, he would not hesitate to use the jade as a bargaining chip to get him back. So regarding this item, Xiao Yan would absolutely not hand it over to the Gu clan. Regarding this answer, Gu Yuan seemed to have expected it, so he could only nod helplessly. Besides, this proposal was not his to begin with. So Gu Yuan suggested that after Xiao Yan came out of the heavenly tomb, they would discuss the matter of the ancient jade in detail. Hearing this, Xiao Yan was about to speak when he saw Xun'er rushing over from a distance in a panic. Seeing his daughter like this, Gu Yuan also smiled helplessly. A grown daughter cannot be kept at home. Looking at how worried this girl is, she's probably worried about what I might do to you. With that, after instructing Xiao Yan to be sure to protect the Tushi ancient god jade, he instantly disappeared. At the same time Xun'er, in a few swift movements, appeared before Xiao Yan with a worried look.
Brother Xiao Yan, are you all right?
Just now Xiao Yan said, that person was your father, Patriarch Gu Yuan.
Ik knew it.
Xun'er exclaimed. Patriarch Gu Yuan didn't say anything to obstruct us. It's just that he talked to me about some matters related to the Xiao clan. Really? He didn't talk about us? Xun'er asked. And then when Xun'er learned from Xiao Yan what Gu Yuan had instructed earlier, her cheeks instantly turned crimson, then she immediately heaved a sigh of relief. After all, regarding this matter, if even her own father was opposed to it, then Xun'er would probably have found herself in a truly difficult situation. But fortunately, everything was developing in a good direction. Even her brother Xiao Yan's qualification to enter the heavenly tomb, she had secured for him. Now what they needed to do was to wait for the heavenly tomb to open in 2 days. Hearing this, a hint of joy also flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes. His only worry had been that those elders in the Gu clan would use various reasons to obstruct him from entering the heavenly tomb. It seemed Xun'er rushing to the Gu clan that day must have been related to this matter. Thinking that this girl had gone to so much trouble for him, Xiao Yan immediately pulled Xun'er tightly into his embrace. Smelling the faint, fresh fragrance emanating from her, Xiao Yan felt as if the fatigue of these days had quietly disappeared. At the same time, Xiao Yan's recently departed father-in-law, seeing the tightly embracing lovers from not far away, finally couldn't help but sigh softly. Xiao Xian, you still outplayed me. Please give us a like and subscribe, fellow Taoists. Let's continue our chat in the next episode.